Have you ever wondered who you should grade your Pokemon cards with? We've got the three biggest companies such as CGC, PSA and Beckett's. So there's choices to make and some are better than the others depending on what your needs and demand is at that point in time. But I'm going to share my light on this, so stick around guys. Alrighty guys, so my name is Mystic Fluffy. Hope you guys are doing well wherever you guys are watching. So we have the three biggest grading companies that do Pokemon cards and also other trading card games, which are PSA, Beckett's and CGC. So each grading company, they both have their good and bad. So I'll do a comparison of all three. So let's just start off with CGC. So CGC just recently started grading cards from last year, so they do all sorts like Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, sports card, so do all of that, a lot of comic stuff. That's their known jam, which is comic stuff related. And so CGC have their grading style is a bit different from the other ones, where they have when you grade it on the slab, they've got their little logo on the top, which is blue throughout the top part of the card. So they do it similar to Beckett's, where they show the grading of each grading area. So the four grading areas is the area, the surface, corners and edges. So these are the four components that all grading companies assess how your condition of your card is. It ranges from 1 to 10. 1's the worst you can get, and 10's mint or pristine or gem mint condition, depending on the company you go for. So with CGC, a lot of people are actually going with CGC as of recently, because due to the whole pandemic and all that, there's been a lot of delays with getting submissions back. So CGC entered the market, they did promise a month return, but now because they're getting a lot of submissions, that now it's been pushed back to 2 to 3 months. So that's a huge wait time, but it's a lot quicker than the other ones like your PSA and Beckett's. So a 3-month waiting time is pretty quick considering the situation we're in now. But the PSA, you have to wait like 9 to 12 months, and Beckett's, you're looking at least 5 months plus. So at least CGC gives you a fastest return. But CGC their pricing for some reason is a lot lower than your PSA and your Beckett's. And as CGC grade, it actually shows the 4 grades that they give you for each grading compartment. So that's a good and bad thing as well. So I know there are a lot of collectors and investors or people that are really into being particular about the condition of cards, want gem mints or pristine or like straight 10s or like 9s at the bare minimum. It's quite annoying if you're like a perfectionist who want to achieve like perfect 10s, or having 3 10s and a 9. It can really put you off in terms of the overall quality of it. So it can be quite off-putting for some, I can see that. So CGC does that, and they're new, people are trying them out, so people aren't willing to wait for 5+ months to get their grades back. And what way to do it then with CGC? So that's why people are actually going through the CGC route, even though they're new. A lot of people that are in the hobby are trying new things. Either they need money quickly, or they want just money that just constantly comes in and out instantly. So that's the reason why people would choose CGC. And plus, everyone started somewhere. So Beckett started somewhere, and then they became huge. And PSA started, and then they became really big as well. So now the big three is CGC, PSA and Beckett's. So CGC is really entering the market, and people are grading their cards through their services due to their quickness and how they actually grade. Some people actually prefer to know how the corners rank, the edges, the surfaces, and to know the grade each one is, so it's a fair overall grade that you receive. And So that's CGC for you. So they're still new. They could potentially overtake PSA and Beckett's, but in this point in time, CGC is probably not up there with your PSA and your Beckett's as of yet, because they haven't been in the market for that long. But so that's CGC, and let's go into Beckett. So Beckett's is very good. They're known for their grading, giving 10s, and the best thing you can get from Beckett's is very similar to CGC, how it actually shows the rank that they give for each area that they're going to grade. So it's your surface, edges, corners, and the centering. So that they grade those for, and it shows you like what they give you. So it could be a 9 for centering, 8 for edges, 8 for surfaces, so on. So they actually show that on there. But the good thing about Beckett is that if you get straight 10s, I feel like Beckett is the best at giving 10s, which a Beckett 10 is considered higher value than a PSA 10. So with Beckett's, you can actually get, if you get straight 10s, you get a black label, and black label is the highest valued card you can get in terms of grading. So let's say, for instance, you get a black label, Chonky Pikachu from Vivid Voltage versus the PSA 10 Vivid Voltage Chonky Pikachu. So the black label would obviously be worth a lot more than the PSA 10. So that's how it is with Beckett's. Beckett's, you would only really want to, people only really grade with Beckett's if they're sure that they're going to get a 10. Very rarely would they send something that's of lower grade than a 9. So, but Beckett's is a lot more strict than PSA. So that's with Beckett. So then again, Beckett's, the amount it costs to actually grade through Beckett's is a lot higher than your PSA and your CGC. So CGC, it's a bit more expensive than PSA, but you know, PSA's been around for longer, so that's their reputation. So you only really want to grade with Beckett's if you know you're going to get like a pristine 10, so which is the black label it's the top, as I said before, it's the best grade you can actually get, and it's the best looking one, it's the most valuable one, it's the prized possession you want out of all the grades you can get. So that's Beckett's, and it looks very nice. I love the little the feather work with the BGS logo. So that's with Beckett's. And then moving on, so lastly we got PSA, who are one of the big three as well. So PSA has been around for years. PSA is very trustworthy. It's fairly cheap in terms of submitting through them. It's a lot cheaper than Beckett's and CGC. Not by much, but it is cheaper. And if you do grade a lot, say you graded like 100 cards a month or 50, the cost of it to grade does add up. So PSA, it's probably the most well-known for grading Pokemon cards, I believe. The reason being is that, one, if you get a 10, you get a 10. There's no, although they still grade it, those 4 compartments or 4 areas, they don't show it on the actual card. So if you get a 10, you get a 10. Even if the centering's a bit off, or if there's a little white nick on the edges or corners, they can still give you a 10. So they're not as picky as Beckett's and CGC, which is a good thing in a way. So, because you know, when a card is manufactured, it's not, you know, up to the collectors. It's not the collector's fault for, you know, printing errors or manufacturing errors. You know, it just came out as what it is. So there could be some whitening, the centering could be a bit off, and it's not really the person that's got that in possession. It's not their fault. So that's a good thing at PSA. PSA are more lenient in centering and white nicks. Unless it's really damaged, then they'll give you a fairer grade. So there is leeway with the centering part of your cards, because centering is not something that you can really control. So that's PSA, and yeah, PSA is probably, I would say, is the best grading service for Pokemon cards, and you know, a lot of people like it due to those reasons. Being not showing the grade it gives for each area that it grades. And it's a nice slab. It looks great. I love the actual style of the PSA grading slab. That's my take on it. So to give an overall outlook of it, so you've got CGC who are new, they just enter the market, and people are willing to go through CGC, given that it's a lot quicker when you get your submissions back. So you're looking about 2 to 3 months, which is a lot better than waiting 9 months for PSA, or like 5 months to 7 months for Beckett's. And Beckett's is a lot more expensive, but once again, you only really want to submit to Beckett's really if it's going to be a pretty strong 9 or a strong 10, probably pushing more to the 10 is something I would consider if I was to submit through Beckett's. But I'm more of a PSA guy, in that it's cheaper and the grading is not as harsh, and I'm one of those people that if I get a Beckett's, I'd rather get a PSA 10 than a Beckett's. A Beckett's 10, but it has 3 10s and 1 9. I'll still take the PSA 10. That's just me. I like to see the perfectness of a condition of a card. So that's that. And there's no really right or wrong answer who you should grade with. I mean, if you wanna flip, you want to get your money back quicker, or you want to get your cards returned quicker, then CGC is the way to go. But I know some people don't really like the way they look of once they get the submission back from CGC. I mean, I'm not a huge favorite of CGC, but some people might like them. But sometimes it takes a while for new things to really trend and to really grow on you. So maybe next year I could go through CGC, but it just takes a while for things to take into effect of your personal interest, and if you want to go through with them. So that's CGC for you. And then Beckett's is good for as your pristine 10s, and then PSA is just, it's overall, it's if PSA could submit it and give you returns in 3 months, 2 to 3 months, then PSA will win hands down. But due to just the massive amounts of cards being submitted and the backlog as of last year to what it is now, it's not the best one to choose, because people want things back quicker. So that's something you can consider, but everyone has their own tastes. You might like another company that's not part of the big three. But so it doesn't really matter as long as you like who you're going with. If you whether it's CGC, Beckett's, or PSA, all of them are great in my opinion. They've been around for years. CGC, although they just entered the market last year, they've been around for years because their main focus, their main jam is comic books. So you probably see a huge spike in comic book collections, which is going to be great. So that's something you should consider. Would you prefer to wait 9 months for PSA returns, or would you rather send it to CGC, get it in like 2 to 3 months, and then grade your other raw cards in another 2 to 3 months, and then grade another batch in 2 to 3 months? So that you can potentially have 3 submissions through CGC, and then you can actually get your money back a lot quicker. That's one way of looking at it. Or you can do half PSA or half CGC and some to Beckett's. But that's all that is to it, guys. And it's been a pleasure, guys, sharing my intel on this. And as always, guys, leave a comment below or who you prefer to grade with. Would you prefer grading with CGC, PSA, or BGS? Or in fact, if you have another grading company you prefer that has better slabs, then leave a comment below. Love reading the comments and appreciate you guys. And as always, guys, keep safe, stay out of trouble. I'll see you on the next one.